Welcome back to the Martini Works podcast. We're all done with Black Friday and Cyber Monday. We don't have any 12 days of Christmas or anything like that. But welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you snagged something for your car at martiniworks.com. And if you haven't yet and you're still looking for car parts, you can do so. martiniworks.com. It's that time of the year, though, where we get to talk about the most important thing, and that is our future projections on what 2025 is actually going to look like in the car scene. Dakota, do you have any ideas on what sort of car trends you think we're going to see in 2025?
Yeah, so we went to Gatlinburg, we went to SEMA, and I feel like those are always the biggest feelers of what's going to be coming for the next year. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if people are going to love it or hate to hear it, but I really think SUVs are going to continue to take over the space, especially as aftermarket parts become more and more available. I can't believe how many modified SUVs I've seen this year.
It's nuts because we have an unbox channel as well, Martini Works Unbox, where we unbox products. It's a very simple formula. And we did the Rohana RFX 19, and the video blew up. Everybody's talking about this wheel, which looks really dope. The amount of comments where people were like, hey, will this fit my Q5? Hey, will this fit my new Ford SUV? Hey, will this fit a Tesla? The amount of questions that are more, they're not tuner cars. They're not M3s or M5. They're like, hey, will this fit my Toyota? It's a really interesting thing that you bring up, because I do think some folks are getting a little older and they want to have something that's just going to get from point A to point B.
Absolutely. And it's not overlandy SUVs. People are doing these up car show car
it's wild.
SUVs. And I seen some that I liked. I thought that looked pretty dang good. But
Audi folks did it first.
Yeah, it's always been around,
Q5
right?
Stuff,
people have been bagging those SUVs and stuff, especially the Volkswagens too. I think the Euro community has been on that, but because SUVs have become so every manufacturer is prioritizing SUVs.
Yeah,
it's just
if that's all they're gonna give us, might as well make the most out of it,
Yeah, they're even getting bigger trims. You have the Edge ST and stuff.
Right, they're no slouches. Obviously it's a big car and it's more economical, but they're putting some fun stuff in the Trackhawks. They're pretty sick.
I think the biggest trend we're gonna see is maybe not the best trend, but more odd platforms coming back into the swing of being modified. TikTok ran through what YouTube ran through in 2 years versus 10 years. The YouTube trend where it was everybody kind of did the basic cars, the simple cars, and then it got more and more and more and more aggressive and crazy. I just watched a 6-minute video, went through it, of somebody building a brand new G80 M3 in one TikTok video. It's nuts to me. One 6-minute video built the whole car in it. And I'm like, holy.
I can't keep up.
You can't beat that, right? But I'm seeing a lot of people now starting to make a little bit of a different splash by modifying weird stuff, like Maseratis and Alfa Romeos and weird Nissans and stuff that they found from Japan and K-trucks. And I'm starting to see that pop up. And hopefully it doesn't pan out poorly for folks, but I think you're going to see more weird stuff getting modified just to stick out a little bit.
I want to see more vans, dope old vans.
Yes.
Japan has it on lock.
I know.
And anything that starts over there gets over here. So I think we might be getting closer, especially since I don't know, importing cars I feel has been so normalized too, where you go back 5-10 years ago and it was you maybe knew one person that imported a car and you were that's crazy, that thing's insane. Now it's you know a few people that have imported cars.
It's I've seen quite a few up here now even, and that's super cool to see, because back in the when I was first getting into cars, you never really saw that. So that's super cool. I would love a van. Love an old van.
You think vans are going to come back in 25, or what do you think is your trend?
I think it's going to kind of go with the SUV stuff, whether it's newer van stuff the Odysseys and things like that, but there's some really dope obscure old stuff like that from back in the 90s and early 2000s that I think you can get your hands on. And even body kits, you can get a Prevea body kit or Previa body kit. They're really dope. It's just the coolest looking thing.
The thing I worry about with trends is a lot of times people will jump into that and they jump into it not really knowing the full
it's tough
issues, and it's dude, you buy something from overseas, you buy something from Japan, and if there's no US equivalent, you have to get really familiar with Yahoo auctions really goddamn quick. Otherwise, you are going to have another project car in your garage broken with absolutely no idea on how to even get the part, let alone fix it, because some of that stuff is super weird.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of things of it now where like those early 2000s cars are making like a comeback, and like maybe like the late 90s. Like I want to see like the 2G Eclipse come back like swinging, like the 3000 GTs come back swinging, like Cobalt SSs, SRT4s. Like give those things like another chance, but like do them like really good.
Now this guy's speaking my language.
Yeah.
And we are right on the cusp of
Yeah.
that. And I was curious. I don't know if it's going to be this coming year, but we got to be close because everything kind of goes in that cycle, right? You have like vinyl. All of a sudden that blows up and gets super popular. And then you had like flip phones and that was the rage. And then it got really weird. And then they started bringing them back. So I have a feeling too, early 2000s cars, I mean, early 2000s, we're already getting 20 years old on those things.
Yeah.
So that's going to start coming back, I think, soon. That's a good call out.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
I think the next thing after like the C5, C6 craze, Pontiac.
Like the
The
G8s and the GTOs.
Dude, I'm telling you, they're like 5 years away.
I remember that was like a big thing for a while. I'd say in like 2016, I feel like I saw a surge of like the G8s
Yeah.
like kind of come back.
The Holden.
Yeah, it was like
versions.
when Chevy did like the SS, people were like, damn, this is really cool. And everyone's like, yeah, they've been kind of doing that for a minute now and y'all hated it.
Dude, if you ever want to upset a group of people, you can upset them by saying that it's a Pontiac G8 or a Chevy SS to the global audience, because it's not. To them, it's a Commodore or it's a Holden that's part of a chassis that was founded and created in Australia, and then it was brought to America.
Sure. What's the
as
title say?
SS.
What's the title say?
I know. I'm just saying, every single time I talk about the Chevy SS.
It's Holden.
Well, also, I think Australians are just constantly pissed. So no matter what it is that they're doing, there's
I think
swear
they
words
just-
in every
I think they
sentence.
just seem that way. They're fine.
Are you sure? I don't know. Like, you put a Midwestern guy and
only
an
know-
Australian in one room, and it is the most polar opposite behaviors of like how people talk
I only
ever.
know 2 Australians. They were both nice.
Well, Harco's nice,
Yeah.
right? But like, you ever hear an Australian go off on something?
You think Corvettes are gonna die out because they've been crazy popular?
I think it'll definitely. I think it'll
Has
get
it
even
peaked,
more.
or
No.
you think it's
It's
gonna
gonna
keep
get
going
more.
up?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
I think it will reach its peak when you start seeing people doing like period correct parts and full on like restorations and stuff. That's when you know it's peaked. The R34 has peaked. When you've got Larry Chen going down to like chassis metal and re-welding stuff and repainting stuff and taking every single component off the car to make it like the perfect example and document it, that's peak. Like the GTR cannot go anywhere else. It's
Yeah.
done.
I hope not. That shit's like fucking over 200 grand for a 90s car.
Well, it's the same thing with Porsche. Like, you can't do any more with the 993 or like a 997. That's why so many people are jumping into the 996, because it's the one chassis that everyone hated for so long that it's the only chassis people can do stuff with where it doesn't feel like the same. And so people are like, oh, I bought a 996 turbo. No, these aren't ugly. They're trying to like change what the community thinks of them. And honestly, the community's like, honestly, I agree, because a 993 is $1 billion and a 997 is now $150,000. Yeah, the 996 is kind of cool. I'll take it.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Justifying it.
You have to, otherwise everything's way too expensive.
You did it before it was cool.
You guys have to let us know what you think is the top car trend for 2025 in the comments below. And of course, if you think we're completely wrong, let us know.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're looking for car parts, you're going to go get your car parts at martiniworks.com. The homie hookups, we got all the deals. And of course, if you have questions on building your car, you can just shoot us a message. Chris would be happy to help. And of course, let us know if we're missing stuff. I'm going through the website and sometimes I'm like, where the hell is this?
We got a lot of parts.
Yeah, we can
to
get
add.
you guys anything too. So shoot us a message if you're looking for something you don't see it. Just send us a message. We'll help you get it.
Now, with that said, we're going to continue on. 2025 is a pretty crazy year. Do you think it's going to be better than 24 in terms of like grocery shopping not being a kick in the balls? Or do you think, like, is it going to stay the
The real
same?
question is...
That's a terrible
if
analogy,
you're
but you know what
getting-
I mean.
Yeah, if you're getting into that, like, I feel like it's almost a little bit political.
I'm not trying to make it political.
I
I'm
think
just
from
saying.
a car enthusiast perspective, what we need to be somewhat nervous about is our car parts going to go up in price just due to tariffs
Yeah.
being put
A lot
in
of
place.
talk about
Do you
that.
think you'll see a big surge in prices coming into this year?
I mean, it won't be the first time that we saw that. 'cause
Right.
That
It's happened before.
It happened a couple years ago, especially with like the wheels and stuff, the aluminum costs and everything like that definitely skyrocketed. And I remember we had to deal with that at our previous life, and it was like a big thing and tried to
Well,
make
it changed
the best
a
of it.
lot.
Yeah, it changed
Yeah.
a lot. It increased a lot of those prices that we saw.
I remember the worst part about that was trying to convince people that it was tariffs and not our shitty marketing.
Right.
And that was
Yeah, a lot of people just
That-
thought it was greed.
Yeah.
yeah, that was terrible because like what ended up happening was the first time it happened was 2019 tariffs. It was either 2018, 2019, but it was like June. And Wheel Pros, which owned a mega conglomerate of brands, ATD, NTW, they all raised their wheel prices on average 25%.
Yeah.
And they gave us like a
That's so
14-day
much.
heads up. Sales tanked, obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
And I remember
No
having
one
to-
buying that
I was like
shit.
arguing with people, the powers that be, that like it's not marketing. Like it's not. We're not doing our job. It's the price of everything
Yeah,
went
just
up.
like doubled.
And it stayed that way for like 5 weeks. And it took about 5 weeks for the audience to get like reacclimated to the new price for like things to come back to normal. 2021 happened again. Same exact time frame, took like 8 weeks that time.
Yeah.
And then I think this year, if it does happen again, I think it's going to take longer for people to get comfortable with it.
Well, yeah, because it's not like
prices are already so
yeah,
freaking
it's not like
high.
they've come down
Yeah.
at all. Like it just keeps stacking and stacking and stacking. And I get it. It sucks, dude. Like I mean,
So I guess we'll do our best to communicate that with you guys to let
Yeah.
you know. Like I know we've done that before where it's like, hey, price increases are coming, so get ready. You know, this might be the best time to get.
Right.
We'll be straightforward about it. There's no hiding it. It's just part of the world. So
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't-
well-
we haven't heard, at least right now as a filming, we haven't heard obviously anything yet. But if it does go through, obviously we'll.
Yeah, we'll let you know. The biggest thing I learned new in the past couple of months is the pricing of wheels is no longer really determined as much by manufacturing time, because the manufacturing time of like flow formed wheels and one piece stuff has now kind of really been standardized.
Sure.
Like there's no new tech coming in.
Yeah, it's all-
Everything's flow
It's all-
formed.
everyone's doing pretty much the same
The
thing
same.
nowadays. Yeah.
Which is why people are doing like one piece forged stuff, because that's like the new sauce. But it is aluminum price.
Yeah.
Like aluminum price has gotten so much more sensitive to factory cost. So a lot of people that are in China are actually really worried about this if your wheels are made in China, because obviously that's where there seems to be some tariffs coming. But wheels made in Taiwan are usually exempt from some of these tariffs and discussions. And so something to keep an eye out if you really are trying to watch price, because I think that's important. If you see a wheel that's made in Taiwan, you might actually find a better deal than a wheel that's made in China.
what about in Japan?
Same thing as the Taiwan.
Okay.
Yep. Because a lot of like the Japanese relationship with America is pretty well locked in, mostly because the Japanese economy is so dependent upon the global economy, which is why it's so bad over there right now. But like, yeah, stage wheels are made in Taiwan. So if there is a huge tariff that came in on China, that would effectively make their wheels 25% more competitive in price. So just something to keep in mind if you're interested in that. I hope it gets easier.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Like I really do hope, because I think 24 was a hard year for a lot of people. Just in general, like affording life got really difficult out of nowhere. And I'm still not entirely sure I believe that a lot of the stuff that we're paying more money for is because the cost of it has gone up. And I just really hope some of the companies that like are just a part of our lives maybe help us out a little bit. Maybe not everything has to be so expensive. You know what I'm saying?
It'd be nice.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice, but who knows? Who knows? I do say, really excited for what Continental and some of the tire companies are doing in 25. They've got some new stuff coming out. There's some new tires coming out. You know, the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, for instance, is coming up on being 8 years old.
That's crazy.
That is
That
wild.
That is wild to think about.
So I think the Michelin Pilot Sport 5S is going to see some new sizes and some excitement.
I must
in the
say,
market.
5S don't have the same ring to it.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just so used to
about
Pilot Sport 4S. Rolls off the tongue.
6S.
See, 6S, I think, but they should just skip 5. Go to 6.
What about 7S?
Nah, too far. They need to make a new model at that point.
80S.
You know, I could see it.
That's Canon with their cameras. I still don't. They
Yeah.
had the nomenclature figured out with like the T4i, T5i, T6. I
Oh,
knew
dude.
exactly that the T7i was better than the T4i, and then they're like,
No.
the 6700, the T800i. I'm
Canon
like, what
and
the hell is happening?
BMW on the same wavelength. BMW just started throwing numbers and letters everywhere.
Yeah,
None
they
of it
did.
makes any sense.
Yeah. When they started doing like M340i, I lost it.
What does the I mean?
Fuel injection.
The
Oh,
F-
because that hasn't been done since the fucking 90s.
I think
Okay.
they-
I'm getting the 2025 M2 carbureted.
Yeah. I want to be different.
There was, I think, at one point somebody was like, "Why is the I still there?" And it was a good question. I don't know if I still stands for fuel injection. I know that earlier that's what it stood for.
Sure.
Shouldn't it be FI then?
Too much.
It's
Too
just
much of an
inject-
acronym. That triggers me.
20.
Did you know that the 4S, a lot of people thought it meant for 4 seasons, and Michelin
That-
had to do a huge
I mean,
remarketing.
makes sense.
well, it's tough because they also have like the all season 4, like the AS4. Yeah, it got really weird.
Yeah, I remember.
4S, 4 seasons.
Yeah,
4 seasons
okay.
Orlando, baby.
Oh,
Sophisticated. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
No one's talking about that anymore, though.
Michelin.
There was I remember meeting one of the marketing folks that actually helped launch the 4S, and he was talking about how much of a pain in the ass it was to like.
God, I can imagine.
They're like, yeah, we launched it. It was exciting, but then people just started to assume it was a 4-season tire, including snow, and it was not that at all. And so we had to market it, and tell our dealers that it's not a 4-season tire. It's a performance
Just
tire.
goes to show anybody can make some mistakes.
Dude, it's so wild because like you look at like these tire companies, right? And obviously their majority of their sales and market is not like us.
No.
Like the aftermarket performance side of
No,
things.
right,
Like
right.
it's a very, very small like niche group to their mass audience. I remember we went to like that Michelin trip one time and we like sat in on like the designers and engineers came out. They did like I don't want to say like a press release, but they're like, we just want to talk to the customers. What questions
Just
do you
like
have?
a presentation.
Yeah, and it
PowerPoint.
was like the wildest, just random questions that this group of people was asking. I remember it was Dakota, Max, and I were just sitting there like, what the? They're like, when are you guys gonna be, making the EV tire in this size? Because I just bought, this car, and you guys don't have that option in this specific tire for the EVs yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next question was like, what makes the EV tire different? And they're like, oh, we just put foam in it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh,
Same tire, just foam. Sound dead.
it was just wild.
Dude, there's so much EV tire drama happening right now, which it'll
All
be
it
very
is
interesting to
foam.
see. Anyway, with that being said, we're going to take a small break, but not before talking about our official sponsor of the Martini Works podcast, Continental Tire, Dakota.
Conti.
Let's go.
That should be it right there. That's all you need to know.
We saw the warehouse today, and a lot of people that bought wheel and tire packages for Black Friday and Cyber Monday just stacked with Contis.
Great
Proud of
choice.
you
I
guys.
like
You're going to love them. I promise you. I've been running the DWS06 Plus. Phenomenal tire. That's an all-season tire, and it truly means all season. I've driven that in some gnarly snow, and usually all season's not the greatest in the snow. I am very content. However, if you are just roughing it, all right, and you got some gnarly roads, and you live in probably northern Wisconsin, Canada, anywhere that gets just pummeled, I would say the Viking Contact 7 is then your option,
Worth
because
the upgrade.
that tire is on another level. Okay, like that. The fact that I drove my Supra through a blizzard while it was lowered says more than I ever need to know about that tire. So that's a great option. Get them now. And then when summer is coming up, the Extreme Contact Sport 02 is your tire of choice, 100%. I haven't talked to one person that doesn't love that tire to death. So if you're interested, head over to martiniworks.com. Check out the rebates that are going on if they're available. If not, Continental does offer an awesome warranty on their tires that's available all the time. Learn a little bit about that. It'll blow your mind. It's really cool to see what they all offer. And a huge shout out and thank you to Continental for sponsoring the Martini Works podcast.